Hey folks, Bridges here. This is part three of a three-part tutorial video series. This is how to build a hinged box in Fusion 360. So in the previous two videos, let's see, we have constructed a simple box with a lid, and then when we rotate around to the back, we can see that there's a two-part simple hinge here. One moment. Sorry about that. So where were we? We've got this two-part container with essentially we've got a cylindrical hole going through the entire, right there, entire width of this part. So what we're going to do now is we're going to separate the two parts. Right now they are two bodies. You can see body one is the base, body two is the lid. What I want you to do is right click on each one of these and transition them from bodies to components. Because remember, a body you cannot move around, you cannot manipulate, but a component you can. So let's right click on body one and create components from bodies. And that just puts a component down here in our browser. I'm just going to single click on it to change its name to box. We'll do the same thing for body two. We'll right click on it. We'll create components from bodies. And then we'll single click on it and then single click again to rename it lid. Now that they're components, they are movable. We can move them around. Now my box is still not hollow, which that's your job to figure out how that gets hollowed out. But essentially we want this thing to revolve or rotate back and open. So what we're going to do is we're going to get it near each other. Okay, we're going to get them near each other, right? And we're going to use something up here called modify. Next to modify, it's called assemble. And we're going to click the drop down by assemble, and we're going to create a new joint. Okay, joining two things together. Now, before we click anything, let's go over to the motion tab and select not rigid, which is where it was to begin with by default, but let's select revolute, okay, which is just like a revolve. Okay, something is going to revolve. So now that revolute is selected, let's click back to position, and we will now click the two things that are the component one and the component two that are going to revolve about each other. So component one, we're going to zoom in and we're going to shoot for the middle of this little barrel, and there's a little center point on there. So let's go ahead and click that. Now we'll zoom out, and what we want to do is move our entire model so that way we can aim for the other inside of that barrel on the opposing side. So that's right down here. Okay, the center of that is right there. Okay, and there it goes. It starts turning about, starts rotating around, and we can actually hit that. I don't know. Let's see. The play button is back here on motion. You can hit the play button and see it animating. And look, that's impossible, isn't it? It can't go through itself like that. Now, can it? So, but that is the motion that we're looking for. So we're on the right track. I'm going to go ahead and say OK, and that is what we want. And now, because of that, that's the only motion that can make. Now, look, when I click to drag it, look, both of my parts are moving together. That's not doing what we want. The reason for that is we need to lock one of these down to the ground. Okay. For me, it's going to be, I think locking down the box makes sense. And to lock it down, quote unquote, what we're going to do is we're going to find that component in the browser list, and we're just simply going to right click on it, and we're going to click ground. So it gives us this, something has moved. That's fine. We'll just click capture position. All right, so now this box is grounded, and you can tell that by that little push pin right there next to it. All right, great. Now that that's grounded, we can go ahead and open this lid, and would you look at that? It opens up, but like it's still not sort of physically possible to go through itself like that. So we're going to fix that next. But look, we can actually physically move it, open it, and close it. All right, great. Now at this point in time, we're almost there, and all we want to do is put those limits on how far it can open and close. And to do that, we're going to look over here in our browser window again. You'll find you've got a new folder called joints. So let's open that folder up, and look, there's the one revolute joint that we placed. It's got a little marker back there for it. Okay, what we want to do is click the little red arrow next to it, the little down red arrow. And what that does is allows us to edit the limits. That's how far it can rotate. Okay. it brings up a little dialog box here, the minimum, the maximum, and the rest. Okay, we're going to use those first two. We're going to start by clicking minimum. And the minimum is going to be, you can actually move these little flags here. You can move the little flags, and our minimum is going to be right there at 0 degrees. So that's perfect. All right. Our maximum, go ahead and click in the maximum area, and we will move our flag again once more. My flag is not moving. There it goes. And it looks like our maximum. Now, realistically, the maximum would be 180 degrees, wouldn't it? That's before those two pieces hit against each other. So we'll go ahead and leave that at 180. When we do that, look, the minimum changed. So that's no good. Long story short, we want the minimum to be 0 and the maximum to be 180. And then we'll go ahead and animate that to make sure that's what we want. And yes, it is. So that's great. Let's go ahead and keep that rest unchecked. We'll say OK now. And now, folks, we should be able to close and open our box to whatever portion, whatever point we want, and it should be able to stay there. All right, great. Hopefully that was helpful. At this point in time, it's going to be up to you to decide what goes inside of your box, whether it's cutouts for Reese cups or Starbursts or whatever it is that whether it's jumbo muffins or cupcakes with icing or whatever it is that is on your design brief that you have come up with your client. So good luck. I hope that you find success with these videos. If there's anything I can do to clarify, please don't hesitate to reach out and let me know. Thank you for watching.